attractive container is the finishing touch to a classy product. Honey deserves the best presentation possible. Make sure containers are sparkling clean. Even if jars are brand new, they may have lint or film on the surface. Discard chipped jars and rusty lids. Let them dry thoroughly before you add honey. When you pack honey, leave a 3/8 to 1/2 inch gap between the honey and the lid. If you fill it too high, you run the risk of honey warming, expanding, and leaking out, and sticky jars are a major turnoff to buyers. On the other hand, underfilled jars are unsightly and give the impression that you are cheating the customer. Get in the habit of filling all jars to a standard, uniform level. Honey is judged on the basis of water content, granulation, color, flavor, clarity, cleanliness, and packaging. Water content. Aim for honey with a water content between 15.5 and 18.6%. Very dry, thick honey is difficult to extract from the combs, and honey above 18.6% moisture is prone to fermentation. Beekeepers can check the water content of honey with a hydrometer or a refractometer, but practically speaking, most beekeepers learn to recognize the normal viscosity of honey in their area and don't worry about an exact moisture reading. Granulation. In time, nearly all honey will granulate and form visible sugar crystals. Granulated honey is still perfectly edible and quite good, but it is unsightly and sometimes devalued. Heating the jar of honey in a pan of water restores it to a liquid state. A greater concern is the increased risk of fermentation. As honey granulates, the liquid portion takes on more water, and if it exceeds 19%, the conditions become suitable for spoilage. Color. The color of honey varies according to the floral source of the nectar. For instance, clover honey is light-colored, whereas tulip poplar honey is dark. You can partially control the color of your honey crop by controlling your bees' location. For example, if your bees have access to buckwheat nectar, you can expect dark honey. Excessive heating during the extracting process darkens honey, while also harming its flavor. Flavor. Honey flavor is governed mostly by the floral source of the nectar, but improper processing can also harm flavor. The biggest enemies are fermentation, excess heat, and improper storage. To avoid fermentation, only harvest and bottle honey that is at or below 18.6% water content. Heat is an important part of the extracting process because it thins honey and makes it easier to strain. But overheating gives honey a burnt flavor. High temperatures during storage, above 81 degrees, deteriorate honey color and flavor. If honey must be stored a long time, freeze it. Clarity. Honey normally contains some suspended sugar crystals, pollens, and other solids. If there are enough of these suspended solids, and the honey is one prone to granulation, it takes on a cloudy appearance and eventually granulates. Cleanliness. Any debris added to honey by the beekeeper hurts its quality. This includes obvious things like bee or plant parts, and less obvious things like flecks of soot from a bee smoker. You can avoid these problems by using cool smokers in the apiary, and by properly straining, settling, and storing honey. From bee suppliers, you can order beautiful honey labels with your name and address printed on them. This is a perfect and surprisingly inexpensive way to dress up your product and advertise. Before they go in the box, buff each jar to get off fingerprints and make the honey sparkle. If you keep more than 1 or 2 hives, you will soon have more honey than you can use or give away. It's then time to sell your honey. Honey enjoys a sterling reputation, but that doesn't mean it sells itself. It takes work to build up repeat customers and consistent sales. Always promote the uniqueness of local honey. Most honey that you see in supermarkets is a blend from many different countries, and all local distinction has been lost.
You got a really nice place here.
Thank you. We've been told it's about 100 years old.
100 years. No wonder it looks so interesting.
Thank you.
Say, would you be interested in buying any honey to sell in your shop?
I think we would. Is this produced here locally?
Yes, it is. In fact, it's just grown right up the road from y'all up in the mountains.
Well, very good. That's all. That's what we like to have, is something that's done locally.
Absolutely. And this is sourwood and a clover blend, so it's real good for this area.
Well, good. Let me check with my wife and see if we can't put this in.
Great. Specialty shops, especially in tourist areas, are a good outlet for local honey. For example, many tourists know that they will find sourwood honey only in the Appalachian Mountains. So specialty shops in this part of the country love to sell this unique local honey.
Yes, we'll take a couple of cases.
Oh, great. I got some out in my truck. For retail opportunities, look to farmers markets, craft fairs, and festivals. These outdoor events are ideal for building up a local clientele and spreading the good word about honeybees and beekeeping.